Hey everybody, John Vaughn here. Basically, a couple of things that I wanted to go over here. First and foremost, a friend of mine is dressing up as Harley Quinn for cosplay. She's going to be cosplaying at a convention, one of these in November, as street punk Harley Quinn, and she asked me to put together the Hammer for her. Now, a couple of things about street punk. I really am not an expert on it. I don't know all of the ins and outs. I don't know really all of the nuances that go with that, but the impression that I got from it is it's very similar to punk rock, the punk scene, obviously. From what I found on Google, it's derived very much from that setting, from that setting and style. So basically, I decided that I'd design a hammer kind of based around that, but more along the lines of a grunge style. And what I came up with was this. This right here is the hammer design that I came up with. Now this right here, obviously, it looks like a giant wooden mallet. Yeah, we'll start with that. It looks like a giant wooden mallet with a really skinny pole for a handle. The mallet head it looks like a giant piece of wood that's all split and chipped, and it's got chunks missing out of it. You can see all through here. And, it's got like these two massive splits going along the side. I really want to incorporate that. We'll see what happens. And the handle here is actually going to look very similar to what I want it to look like is a piece of galvanized steel it's a galvanized steel pipe that's starting to rust, and like these little patches right here are where it's starting to rust through. And it's attached at the very top with a galvanized steel end cap, so that looks pretty it's pretty solid. Down here, it's going to have like a cloth grip that is going to have like a little piece that streamers off, and there will be like a little jagged bit down here, like it's a rusted steel pipe. I also want to have like some elements of rust that's starting to get through the cloth. So there's that. Now what I'm going to make the hammer head out of, oh yeah, and before I forget, and this is of course what the face of the hammer is going to look like. So that's the basic design, and that's the basic concept that I'm going with. Now I'm still waiting for an approval on that, but one way or the other, a few things are going to remain the same. Number one, I don't know why I put this away. Number one, there's going to be kind of a PVC structure that's going to go inside this, so that she doesn't end up with a Harley Quinn hammer that spins on top of its handle. We don't want that. We don't want the way that the piece fails is that all of a sudden this thing spins and it torques off of the grip, and the hammer head goes flying. I want this to be somewhat functional, where she can take it and she can swing it around and like, ha-ha, for kind of a performance aspect, and the head's not going to go anywhere. The other thing that will not change is what I'm making the hammer head out of, and that is going to be polystyrene. I'm going to be getting polystyrene foam board, and it's going to be kind of like that pink insulation foam, which I've worked with it before. It works really great. I made a giant like eraser sword at one point for a play out of that stuff, and it works really great. It's great stuff to work into different shapes, varying degrees of smoothness to it. Works really, really nicely. And I decided that I'd do like a quick test to see, how polystyrene would look, with some kind of a wood grain worked into it. And oh wow, does this look nice. I just took a little piece, almost like a 2x4. And as you can see, those grooves going into it, it looks like wood grain. It looks really, really nice. I was very, very pleased with the outcome of it. And if you look there, you can see kind of like the little swoop. Actually, it's much better on this side. You can see like the little swoop in the wood grain that it would have if it had been actually cut from a piece of lumber, a piece of timber. And you look at this side, and again, very, very nice, deep set grain, and it just looks like a piece of splintery wood. And then I wanted to see if I could make it look even more distressed, and it did. It looks pretty nice. You can see like all these deep gouges and stuff inside here. And basically all I did to this was I took a wire brush, and I just brought forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, and it got these really, really nice deep grooves in there. For the extra distress on this side here, I took this kind of like sanding mesh, which is normally used for drywall. I took the sand, and it's normally used for drywall because basically drywall tends to clog a lot of stuff, so it's designed so that you just, whenever you're sanding and it starts to get clogged, you just take it, and all of a sudden all the clog's gone. Same thing with the foam. If you try to use like normal sandpaper on this stuff, it likes to clog it. I mean, I've had varying degrees of success with regular sandpaper. I just don't like to deal with it. So I got a really nice fine grit sanding mesh. So basically all I did was I just folded that in half and just started going along in various directions, kind of going against the grain, going with the grain. I got these nice, really deep grooves set into the foam, and it looks really nice. I like it. The problem that I've run into with this is the only glue that I've had on hand that doesn't eat away at polystyrene. Most glues will just dissolve polystyrene, just eat right through it like acid. The only glue that I've had on hand that doesn't do this is Gorilla Glue. Now, anybody who's worked with Gorilla Glue will tell you that Gorilla Glue is really great for strong hold. It holds stuff together. It's great. Except for one small detail, and that is it leaves this really, really distinct seam. A very, very distinct seam. You can see it there. You can see it really well here. It's a very, very distinct seam. Now, even if you paint over that, the seam is still going to be visible through, just because of the gap that it leaves. And it would be one thing if that's the only thing I was contending with as far as the Gorilla Glue is concerned, but when I went to see how it fits with the overall with the wood grain look, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Everything else is being scratched and gouged and everything, and then you've got this really nice, clean, straight line going through. It holds great, but I don't like this part of it. And because it's going to be a cylinder, there's going to be several seams that are going to be visible. That's just how it is. So what I need to do, what I'm wanting to do, is put together a couple, I want to try and find a different adhesive to use. And after doing some online research, I've decided that I'm going to be testing 2 different adhesives. The first one I'm going to test is going to be the 3M spray adhesive Super 78. It's designed specifically for polystyrene, so it's not going to eat away at the foam. But then again, 3M's kind of hit and miss as far as adhesives go. Or at least it always has been for me. Usually I use something along the lines of DAP or whatever, but that really eats through this stuff like acid. The other thing that I'm going to test is Gidden Gripper. Yeah, Gidden Gripper. It's a type of it's actually a paint primer, and what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to get some of that in black. Whether or not this turns out, this design that I have turns out to be the case, or if she just wants a solid, like, smooth mallet head. You want something that's going to kind of hide the seams whenever it's painted. You don't want very, very visible seams. So hopefully we can minimize the amount of seams that show up. So that's basically the first entry. I'll keep you guys updated on the tests for the adhesives to see which ones work better for what I need. I will also keep everybody updated on my status with the hammer. Hopefully you guys will follow this. Questions, comments, suggestions, please leave them in comments below. Hopefully some of you have already worked on something like this in the past. I hope so. But if you haven't, then I look forward to blazing a trail with you. Alright, see ya.